So welcome everybody. Good afternoon if you're on the east, or good morning if you're more mountain and Pacific. Welcome to our webinar today, Help Your Agents Double Their Listings Despite Low Inventory. So I'm going to jump right in. This is me. I'm your host today. I'm one of the co-founders and the Chief Revenue Officer with Exact Contact. We're a real estate CRM and sort of keep in touch marketing system. But this really is intended to be largely an educational webinar. Our agenda for the following, I should make a couple quick comments. If you have any questions as we go, post them in the little Q&A box, which is part of your control panel there. And I'm being assisted today by Shannon McGee. She's our sales director. She'll be monitoring the Q&A box. And I'll probably, because it's a half-hour webinar, I'm going to go through the presentation straight through and then try to make some time at the end for questions. And also just make sure that if you're in the US, you dialed in using the US number. I think both the US and the Canadian dial-in numbers, if you're using your phone, are in the chat. So that little bit of admin out of the way, let's get into the agenda. So number one, what's the problem? Before presenting solutions, it's always a good idea to define the problem. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to look at two solutions to the problem. One is the sort of online lead gen approach, and the other is more of a sphere-oriented approach. Oops, I'm missing a word there. Never mind. Sphere-oriented approach with a focus on agent personas. And then we're going to look at how you as brokers can help your agents, a bit of positioning on Exact Contact and next steps. So what is the problem? Well, the problem is alluded to right in the title of our webinar today, which is that it's really tough to get listings right now. Why is it so tough to get listings? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is that we are seeing a historically low level of inventory. This data is from just a couple months ago. We're basically roughly at around half a million homes for sale. And traditionally, just go back 4 or 5 years ago, we were between sort of 1 million and 1.5 million, depending on seasonality. And it started to fall away a little bit, as recently as 3, 4, or 5 years ago. But then with COVID over the last year and a half, it just fell off a cliff. And these aren't just low inventory levels; they're historically low levels. I thought of having a slide in here, with all the headlines. But if you follow, if you read Inman or RE Technology, you can, or RIS Media, if you follow the big coaches, it is the topic in real estate right now. Lack of inventory. There's no other topic that's more dominant. What does this mean? Well, this lack of inventory is kind of creating havoc in the market. It's not all bad news for everybody. Some people are doing amazingly well, but it's definitely creating havoc. If you're a buyer, and it's pretty much right across North America, I mean, there are pockets of exception where you've got a sort of balanced market, but in most markets, right across the US and Canada, it is a seller's market. So if you're a buyer, you're frustrated because you're making offer after offer after offer on the home you want to buy with no success. You're getting slammed by bully offers and bidding wars and home selling for $50,000, $100,000 over offer and more. So, so you're frustrated. Now, that's bad enough for the buyers, but if you're a buyer agent, then you're kind of driven to distraction because you've never worked harder with less to show for it, right? So it's tough right now being a buyer agent. And if you're a homeowner, even if you were thinking of selling, you're afraid to sell because if you sell first, then there's this great unknown on the other end. You don't know if you'll be able to find a home you like. Why? Because there's no inventory, right? There's very little for sale. And if you do find a home you like, will you be able to afford it? And what happens if after you've sold, the market runs away from you? And now you're suddenly, looking at being really on the wrong side of the transaction. And that's why things like, the whole knock has sort of taken off. I'm reading about knock, hearing about it everywhere. They have this home swap program, which allows you to sell first and then buy a home without any conditions on that purchase order. So, a purchase option. So there's some advantages there. Meanwhile, the number of realtors continues to rise and listings for agents continues to fall. In fact, the latest NAR member survey was just released last week, the 2020 member survey. All sorts of interesting data. Number of realtors is up about 5%. Listings per agent is down about 10%. Median income fell 13% from $49,700 in 2019 to $43,330 last year. And to top it all off, much of the available listings, listings that are available, are going to an ever smaller group of top agents and teams. So you've got this, ever sort of this income inequality thing going on where, the cream at the top is doing very well, but it's making life tougher for the average agent. That's why we're seeing that in the falling median incomes. So what's the average agent to do? And that's what we're kind of here to talk about, but also from the perspective of how you as brokers can help them. So let's talk about solutions. So one solution, and I think the one that comes to everybody's mind, is more lead gen. We just need to do more online lead gen. And online lead gen does have one very big advantage, which is that it's fast, it's immediate, right? I put some money toward an online lead gen campaign and I get leads. But there's a lot of problems with the online lead gen game. And these problems really are inherent in the game itself, but in many ways, they're exacerbated by the conditions that we're looking at right now. First of all, it's very expensive. If you're going to be serious about online lead gen, you got to have a pretty significant budget. Second problem, it's very hard to win at, as most agents aren't wired for it. They just don't have the focus, the discipline, the systems, the perseverance, the intestinal fortitude, whatever you want to call it. And as a result, the ROI for most agents is poor. They pour a lot of money into it, they pour their heart and soul into it, and they're not getting the ROI. It's kind of soul destroying. I guess that's negative number 4, it's soul destroying. And here's the harsh reality that I think is almost the dirty little secret of the online lead gen game, which is that less than 1% of all online leads close. And of course, the majority of those are buyer leads. Now, of course, if you get a buyer lead and you can get that person, now you're representing them as a buyer, then maybe you can get their listing too, but they really are buyer leads to start with that you hope to convert into a seller lead. And here's the actual data. It's actually, when I say less than 1%, it's actually only 1 in 153 online leads close. So you just gotta let that sink in a minute, right? And then, as I alluded to a moment ago, most of this business, most of the online leads that do close are closed by a select group of agents and teams, high-end agents and teams that are really focused on this business model. It's called the converter business model. Converter refers to an agent persona. And I'm going to introduce the concept of agent personas a bit later in this presentation, so hang on to that. But in case you don't believe me, whoops, here are the numbers. And this data, by the way, is all from T360, which is the leading real estate research and consulting firm really in the industry. And I won't go through the details in gory detail. I'm happy to send you the slides if you like. But according to T360, there were approximately 200 million real estate leads generated per year. It leads to actually 18 leads for every single real estate transaction side. But really, it's worse than that, because you have to remember, of all the real estate transactions that go down, well, first of all, not all of them involve a realtor. 91% did last year. 9% went FSBO. But of those that involved a realtor, 63% were directly attributed to the realtor sphere. So those weren't online leads, because those came from relationships, right? 14% more were attributed to yard signs, home builders, FSBOs, and so on. So basically, it leaves 14% for lead generation, or 650,000 transactions. Each transaction has 2 sides, so 1.3 million sides. So if you figure there was 200 million leads, which resulted in 1.3 million sides, that's 153 online leads per side, or a conversion rate of 0.65%, less than 1%. So that's the data. There is a better way. This is approach number 2, and it's basically focusing on your sphere as an agent. So in a sense, this is like Back to the Future. This is nothing new, right? From a long-term perspective, I think everybody knows, brokers know, trainers know, coaches know, that the best approach for long-term success in real estate sales is to focus on your sphere, expand relationships, build a growing and profitable business based on referrals and repeat transactions from an expanding loyal clientele. The thing is, I think what's almost been lost the last couple of years in the fascination with the internet and online leads and so on, is that people have almost moved away from that. A lot of NAR data says people have moved away from that. When you read the NAR data, that 85% of consumers say, yes, I was happy with my realtor. Bob was great, and I would use him again. I would refer him, and definitely I'm coming back to Bob for my next real estate transaction. And yet less than 25% of consumers actually do go back to Bob next time. And the reason is they can't remember Bob's name, because Bob failed to keep in touch. So it sounds simple, but it's not. And here's the thing, in the tight inventory world that we're in right now, this has never actually been more important. And it's pretty simple. You can't force or trick a homeowner into listing their home, but you can make sure that you get 100% of the homeowners that are thinking of listing that you already know and have a relationship with. They're already in your sphere. There's already some level of relationship. It's going to give you far more success to pour some energy and focus into your database and your sphere than pouring money into online lead gen with strangers. And we'll go into a bit more why that is. But this is really where you need to be right now. What you can't afford is to have people you already have a relationship list with somebody else because you weren't on the ball. You weren't keeping in touch with them. You weren't staying top of mind, right? So what exactly should your agents do? I'm going to give you 4 simple steps. Number 1, if they don't already have one, they should get a good real estate CRM. It could be Exact Contact, it could be somebody else's, but way too many realtors today still try to wing it. They think their iPhone is a CRM and it's not, or they've got an Excel spreadsheet, or they use Gmail. They need to get a true real estate CRM. They need to upload their contact data and apply some simple categorization, past clients, current clients, hot prospects, long-term prospects, that kind of thing. Step 3, take advantage of the keep in touch marketing automation that the CRM provides. In many cases, need to reconnect with people, but even if they're connected in some level, they need to get top of mind again with everyone in their sphere. And just make sure that anyone in their sphere who's thinking of listing thinks of them first, right? This is the easy business. This is the business they have to get when inventory is this tight. They can't let that business slide away. In good times, when the business is rolling and there's lots for everybody, it may not matter so much, but it matters right now. You can't afford to let a listing that's under your nose slide away because it's way too hard and too expensive to go get it via the other route. Step 4, your agents need to commit to a keep in touch success system of some kind and follow it religiously. The specifics of the system matter less than the consistency and the discipline. Let me just do a time check here. Okay, now I mentioned agent personas. Why did I bring this up? Everything I just spoke about becomes even more interesting if you understand agent personas. And again, this is a concept that came out of research done by T360. So T360 looked at the world of realtors, the 1.4 million realtors out there, and said, how can we understand realtors better? One thing we know is they're not all the same. There's no one type of realtor. That old stereotype that, all realtors are people. It's not true, actually. Realtors come with many different personality styles, work styles, and so on. But what T360 found was that one interesting way of sort of understanding realtors is to look at how they drive business on 2 dimensions. So the first is realtors that prefer direct selling, really reaching out to people directly by various means, right? Versus those that prefer indirect selling or more of a marketing approach. Then the other dimension from left to right is, are they happy to go after cold leads, or do they prefer to work with warm leads? Let me just get this out of my way. Sorry, if you're going to try and minimize my, no, that didn't work. I've got a control panel in my way. Oh, there it is. Sorry. So so do they prefer direct selling versus marketing? Do they prefer working with cold leads or warm leads, people they already have a relationship with? And those are called prospectors, networkers, converters, and marketers. Now, what gets interesting is you look at, what are their key practices? So let's go through them and I'm going to speed up here. We've got a lot to cover. But a prospector, this is your classic, realtor from, 1980s or 90s. It's the Mike Ferry approach. It's, just get on the phone, make your 50 cold calls a day or 100 cold calls a day, time block. They're all about prospecting. It's cold calling. It's calling people, having that list and so on. All about, good phone skills and so on. The converter is the type of agent that's really good at the online lead gen game. This is where these guys flourish with online lead gens. They're all about systematization, instant follow-up, responsiveness, phone scripts and skills, appointment setting, super detailed for lead follow-up and lead nurturing and so on, and very data and metrics driven. Then we have the networker. The networker prefers to sell directly, but they prefer to work with people that are warm in some degree or another. So all about networking, relationship building. They often have a leadership position in their network, and they try to do a good job staying in touch with their sphere of influence or their network, right? Marketer is actually similar to the networker with one spin. The big difference here is that the marketer often relies more on marketing and is very much about their brand. They'll try to position themselves as, an expert in some area of knowledge. I'm the condo king, or I'm the expert in golf course living in, Central Florida, that kind of thing. But then the question is, what do they need? So what does a prospector need? He needs data, he needs lists, expireds, FSBOs, et cetera. They need kind of a lead nurture follow-up system, but mostly they need, a dialer, like a Mojo dialer, conversion-oriented website, and so on. Converters, they need money, they need a budget, you need to run advertising programs, they need a lead gen website, and very much they need a lead gen oriented CRM. And then they need religious commitment to follow up, right? What's the networker need? The networker needs a more basic CRM that's actually kind of a relationship-oriented CRM, more about relationships, building relationships, keeping in touch, staying top of mind, and so on. Email marketing is important. They need a nice, I don't like the phrase business card website, but more of it's not a lead gen website. It's a branding website that just kind of tells people who they are and what they do, and positive first impression, right? They need a good social media presence, they need time and friends. The marketer relies a bit more on marketing versus, networking. They still need a nice website that can allow them to brand themselves. They're very much into marketing content. They still need a CRM system, often with a really nice marketing engine attached to it, and they need content, right? And they need social as well. So those are what the 4 different types need. So what does this have to do with you? Why should you care? And the answer is this: if you want to help your agent succeed, you need to understand what they need. You need to give it to them. And it turns out their needs are very different, right? This guy needs Mojo Dialer and less. This guy needs really good, needs money, sophisticated ads, and a good lead follow-up CRM. But it's all about the here and the now, the current leads that are coming in. And these guys, the network and the marketing, I'm going to kind of lump them together a little bit, need more of a relationship-oriented CRM, a sphere-oriented CRM, and some good basic email marketing, social media marketing, and branding kind of website. So, but here's the interesting thing: so how do agents fall on this map? It's not 25%, 25% in each box. It's actually very different. 86% of agents actually fall on the right side of this quadrant. 86%. 14% fall over here, and of the 14%, it breaks out 50-50. So about 7%, it turns out, of agents are actually converters, actually have the skills and the wherewithal and I like to call the intestinal fortitude to win at this game. 7%. But most brokerages, or not most, but many brokerages today and for the past few years are focused on lead gen. But that lead gen game really only works well for 7% of their agents, right? So that's why this is important. So what does it mean to you? Well, first of all, what do you do for your network as a marketer? So 86% of them are the people who really have not been getting the focus. It's the converters, especially, that have been getting the focus, right? So what your networkers, marketers need is they need the right CRM, and it's not the same CRM that the converter needs. It's not a lead gen oriented CRM. It's more of a relationship and keep in touch oriented CRM that allows them to expand their sphere, keep in touch, stay top of mind with everybody, past clients, hot prospects, important referral sources. Those could be other service, complementary service providers. It could be other agents in other areas and so on. It needs to help them build relationships, and bottom line, it needs to help them grow their referrals and their repeat business from a loyal and expanding clientele. Do a quick time check here. Yeah, we're good. So what is Exact Contact? Bada boom, bada bing, no surprise. We actually are sort of an all-in-one real estate CRM and keep in touch system that's designed specifically for networker and marketer agents. We don't pretend to be the right CRM for converters or for prospectors, really. but we're the perfect CRM for networkers and marketers. You know, my little quote at the bottom here, Exact Contact helps agents to become the real estate professional that past clients remember and refer and prospects choose to work with. So that's what Exact Contact is all about. The system has some key components. First and foremost, it is a very robust real estate CRM, still very easy to learn and use for both individual agents and teams. We designed it for the non-techie agent, you know, the 55-year-old former school teacher, you know, who really got into real estate because they just want to be their own boss and they like working with people and they enjoy the real estate home, industry. That's who we built it for, the non-techie person. We also include a very powerful email marketing platform with a done-for-you monthly newsletter, nice targeted drip email campaigns, and so on. We provide an agent website, but it's not a lead gen agent website. You can generate leads from it, but there's a very specific architecture and focus and design to a lead gen website. That's like a squeeze page. Ours is more of a branding website. It allows the agent, the network and the marketer to create this amazing first impression when you go to check them out online. We also provide automated social media content posting that generates engagement and leads. So for these people, they're active online, it creates followers, and so on. And lastly, point number 5 here, we include something we call concierge customer service or customer setup help that gets we provide one-on-one help to get every agent up and running fast. We sell directly to agents and teams all across North America. We also work with brokerages. So we call it our broker program. There's all sorts of components to it. Some of the key highlights, I guess, are first of all, we're very, very flexible and affordable when it comes to working with brokerages. We can do, a flat monthly license fee. We can bill you directly, but based on number of active agents, active accounts, if that's better for you, whatever works best for you. We can do an awful lot to customize the system, including uploading, unique content to your brokerage, entire action plans, and we can white label the system. We can integrate it within your portal using single sign-on and more. And we'll build with you sort of a custom rollout and training plan to maximize agent adoption and usage. And this, of course, includes our one-on-one, concierge setup help. So what are the next steps? One last time check. Yep. So step 1, think about your agents. Are they all the same? I doubt it. So why give them all the same tool? A fun exercise might be to map your agents against the 4 quadrants, the 4 agent personas, and see where you think your agents fall. And really, one of the key questions is what percentage of your agents are equipped to succeed at the online lead gen game, right? How many have the skills, the responsiveness, the discipline, the processes, and like I said before, the intestinal fortitude to build a business based on online leads? Step 2, evaluate the technology, tools, and training that you're currently providing to your agents. Are you providing tools that help all your agents or just some of them? And again, what we've seen over the last few years is this massive focus on online lead gen. And what I'm highlighting here in this webinar is there's a mismatch between where all the focus is going and where all the realtors are. The vast majority of realtors, particularly that average mom and pop realtor that wants to make their 50, 70, 100,000 a year, they're not the masters of the online lead gen game. They're getting crushed by the people who are, those top agents, and especially those top teams. A lot of the online business is going to teams, and teams that do it right can win it. I mean, it's not a bad business, but you got to be structured for it and focused on it, and then you can make huge money at it. But that's where the money's going. That's where the success is going, to this very small subset of agents. So, the key question, I guess, is what are you doing to help the networkers and marketers, right? So if there's a step 3, if there's a gap or a mismatch between what you're providing and what your agents need, I would recommend make a plan to fix the problem. So that's, what's the solution? It could be to offer a complementary sphere-focused CRM. So if you're providing a lead gen CRM, something like a Commissions Inc. or a Follow-Up Box or a Boomtown, then look at providing a CRM for your networkers and marketers that just works the way they want to work, allows them to do business the way they want to do it, with the people they know, like, and trust, growing relationships, building their sphere. Or, perhaps if you're adopting, maybe you've tried to roll something over the last couple of years, you're sitting at a 6% adoption, it's failed, and the better approach is a complete replacement. But one or the other, figure out what's right and do what's right for you. Last slide here, just some webinar takeaways. In this current market, where inventory is at historic all-time lows, the best place, unfortunately, there's no, if you're hoping for like a magic button in this webinar, there is no magic button. The best place for agents to look for listings is right under their nose. Their listings are in their sphere, and what most agents are doing today is they're letting those listings slide away while they chase strangers. And I'm proposing stop doing that. Focus your time and energy on where you have a 10x better chance of actually getting a listing, and that's from your sphere. Point number 2, the lead gen math tells a scary story with less than 1% of all online leads closing. And point number 3, brokers need to provide their marketers and networkers with a CRM designed to help them succeed. If you'd like slides of the copy, if you have questions, if you just want to learn more about Exact Contact, just email us at info@exactcontact.com. And that is it, and I'll open it up for questions. So those of you who have to go, thank you for attending our webinar. Hope you found it helpful. Please fill out the survey form when you go, but meanwhile, I will open it up for questions. Shannon, what do we got? Shannon, you got to take yourself off mute.
Yeah, I was on mute. I'm here. Not a ton of questions. I think you covered a lot of great information today. There was a question earlier about getting the slides, so I'm glad that that your last slide covered that. We'll provide those, and there will be a recording made available of this session as well. Those were really the two main questions.
All right. So this could be a first, certainly for me personally. I think we're going to finish this webinar 3 minutes early. So thank you all for attending. I hope this was helpful. Let us know. Hope I tried to share some information with you around the lead gen mathematics and the agent personas you may have not have seen before. If you're interested in a great CRM for your marketers and networkers, talk to us. And in the meantime, have a great day. Bye, everybody. Shannon, I can't, there it is.